party again for February, and I want to show you the blocks we're doing this month. A nice star. This is one of my favorites. I love the way this is put together. This month we have 4 colors plus the background in our blocks. So that's the Amish one. This is the Farmer's Daughter. Beautiful color collection we're using. And then this is Garden Party, and we've picked these florals for this month. So for Garden Party, they're all so very different from each other. It's going to be really pretty too. This month I'm going to show you how to do the quarter square triangle, and it has 3 colors in it in the 4 pieces. So they all look a little different, of course, and I'll show you on the Amish one. So following the directions, you're going to make your half square triangles as normal. The background in a dark. When you sew the squares together, you'll end up with 2 half square triangles, and then the background in the medium. And then you're going to take these, and the pattern says to put a background dark together with a medium dark. And you're going to lay these with the dark colors opposite. So they're going to fit like that. You're going to line them up as best as you can. There's plenty of room here in these measurements to square them up. So we don't have to worry about super precision matching up around here where you see it doesn't quite fit. That's okay. The main thing is that you want to get these seams nested well. So be sure you press your seams all towards the dark. In this case, the pink is dark. It doesn't look dark, but it's dark. So if they're all pressed the same way, then this seam will go this way and that seam will go that way, and they'll nest. And before you do anything else, you're going to want to make sure they match in there before we sew. So we'll get those marked. We'll do these 2 like this. Draw this line right across here. And I'll do the same thing on this one. And then it's not, I can't see it very well there. Maybe you can't in the camera, but I can see it well enough to sew. And the nice thing about this pencil is if you can't see it, you can just turn that and change the color of the pencil lead. This is it's called the Sew Line Trio pencil. And so then I can just make that over there. I'll just come back and do this one again. I love this pencil. It's a great one to have on hand. And there you go. Okay, I have my little starty in here, sort of the end of that, and then I'm going to sew 1/4 inch from the edge of the line that I drew. Having a little starty in there will help keep the needle from shoving the corner of the triangle of the square down into your throat plate, which can happen frequently. Turn it around, and I'm going to come back. Okay, and I will get me another little starty on here so that I can do my next one. Get that off of there. This saves a lot of thread if you're doing lots of chain piecing. You just use the starting and stopping. You don't have those long threads to trim off as well. Okay, if your seam allowance isn't perfectly straight, like a perfect 1/4 inch, you'll be okay in this because we are going to square it up, and there's plenty of room for that. But you do want your lines to be straight. You don't want them to be curved lines. You also have to be careful that they don't start curving in when you get to the end of your stitching line there. Okay, I'm going to put my ruler right there down the line that I drew and cut that in half. Do the same thing with this one over here. Okay, and then when you open these up, these should be lined up perfectly. So you have a nice cross there in the center seam. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to press them in one direction. Set my seam first, and I'll press it in one direction. Okay, so when you do, make sure that seam gets pressed all the way over there. You don't want to just go like this, because then you're going to have these little tucks in there, okay? You just gently press the seam open that way. We want a nice flat square. I'm going to do it one more time to show you. Set my seam, press it open gently without stretching everything out. I do like to use steam. That's good. And there you go. Now we're going to square them up. Okay, I'm going to take my Tucker trimmer, and I just love the Tucker trimmer. I feel like I could almost use it blindfolded because I've used it so many times. But I'm going to put these lines right here on the seam line. I've showed you before, but just to remind you that the cross seam in here, the seam here goes right on the seam line. This line here, dotted line, goes right on the seam line. That one goes on that seam line. This continues down here. So I'm going to put all 4 of those lines on there. Once they're on there, they're harder to see, I'm sure, in the camera. But then we have a little square here in the middle that just naturally forms because of the lines on the other side of the ruler as well. So you just put that little square right there in the center. Before I ever start cutting, I'm going to check all 4 one more time, because as I move it around to make it fit, something else might get out of place. That there, and this across here. Okay, I'm going to turn my mat around. And now these 2 are already squared up, so it's real easy to put that on there, but I still want to make sure everything is coming out right at the corners, so that when I'm all done, the seam line goes right to the corner. It's not off a little bit. So when you sew this to another one that's squared up, or to another unit, such as right here, that's going to fit on there exactly, right? You won't have anything off. So do that to all 4 of them. Then you have your little corner units you're going to make. So you just square those up. You can use your Tucker trimmer, your block lock, or just your regular ruler to do that. Put that on there, square them all up. On there again. Okay, so then to make that, you'll take 2 of these half square triangles and then 2 plain squares, and put those together. These will go like that, like that, and then sew those together. When I lay them out on the table, when I pick them up, I always I lay them out so that this looks kind of like a butterfly. That's how I kind of a reference that I use to make sure I have it right, so that it's not like that or something. I want my colors to look like a butterfly, and then they should come out. Since these are squared up, these are cut exactly because you didn't make any errors, right? And then when you put that together, this should be 4.5 finished. So it will be a 4-inch finished block unit when your quilt is completed. So put that together in there. We have the little blue center square that goes there, and a lot of fun to make this block. I just want to remind you that when you use these patterns, we often have light, medium, dark, accent, things like that. Usually there's only 3. But remember that dark does not always mean it's the darkest one in your block, because we have 3 different colorways. For some of them, it might be the darkest. For others, it's not. But the pattern is the same for all 3 colorways. So to make sure you don't get mixed up when you come in to pick up your block, you can look at ours and you can write. A lot of people just write down here where it says light. They'll write the turquoise color on there, or they'll write the color that it is for theirs. Or you can go to our website. We have pictures of them, and we have those labeled there, so you can see them in that location. So let us know if you have any questions.